guys, it's Tira here. I have a video here to show you guys how to make a basic Amtgard sword. The way that these are made, you can make long swords, great swords, pole arms, anything really. So yeah, let's show you guys the materials that will be required. So some pretty basic stuff. We've got your core. This one here is made from a graphite golf shaft. Nothing too special, you can find them anywhere. Got your pool noodle. Got some packing tape, some hockey tape, a measuring tape, pennies for a penny cap. I have this ring to keep it measured at our 2.5 for our width. Got some puzzle mat here for some caps, some scissors, and a knife. For your cores, you can use bamboo. There's pretty much anything that isn't wood or any kind of metal. So first thing we're going to do with our core is we're going to take off the handle here. You don't have to take it off, but if you want a lighter sword, go for it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Be careful with the knife when you're using it. Need to be careful. Where is my... There you go. So now we have our core here. It's been stripped. Nice and clean. Don't have to worry about the tape that's on here. That's not going to matter later on. So move the stuff out of the way. So one thing you're going to need to do is measure your core here. So mine is 27 1/4. So per the Amtgard rulebook, we need a minimum of 2/3 of the core covered in strike legal padding. So going to end up having to figure out what the 2/3 of your core is. Alright, so for this guy here, with the 27 1/2 that it comes out to a little bit over 18 inches. So just to be on the safe side, we're probably going to do like an 18 1/2 strike legal surface on it. But first, before we end up doing that, we have to cap the tip of our shafts at both ends. This will help preserve the tips on your weapons and will prevent the tip from going through your foam and potentially injuring another player, which we really don't want that. So with the pennies that we have here, that's going to be going at our tips. Going to do this on both sides. So what we're going to do is use our hockey tape here. If you want to use electric tape, you can use electric tape too, as long as you can affix the penny to the tip of your core. Use my scissors here. Do some pretty simple stuff here. So I choose to affix the penny on first. Others choose to to make the tip of the core bigger before affixing on the penny. I find that it doesn't, well, for me it does matter in a way which way you do it. If you do it this way, then you can just tape till the size of the penny, and the other way around, well, you have to guess and do everything else. And plus this way, well, I find that you're securing the penny on a little better, because with the tape the way it is here, it'll just hold it on a lot better, and you won't have to fear about losing the penny at the tip. I'll just keep doing this. Until then, the kind of hockey tape you use doesn't really matter at all. You can use white, you can use ones with patterns on them. Doesn't overly matter. Just so long as the penny is affixed to it. There we go. Now that our penny is affixed on, just like that, we're going to do it the same way on the other side. We're probably going to need a lot less tape on the other side because, well, with the golf shaft it's a lot bigger. But you still want to do it because of how hollow it is. That's just going to punch through. And we really don't want that. You can do this with any core, whether it's bamboo, PVC, any of the legal cores. Some of them won't have the hollow tips, so you may not have to worry about penny capping it, but for those that have the thinner cores and everything else that are going to go into your pool noodle, you definitely want to try to penny cap it. There we go. Good secure penny cap on that. So now we have it capped at both ends. So now that we have our measurements for how much foam we're going to use, I have a small segment here. You got your hole, that's where your core is going to go. You want to make sure that you have a good strong piece, no damage on it. If you can try to remove this without damaging it, go for it, but you can leave it on. It's not a big deal. So what we're going to do is grab our measuring tape and measure the 2/3 that we're going to need. So mine was about 18.5, and we're going to need about an inch or so for the tip when we cap it. So I'm going to go do a 17.5 for it. Actually, I'm going to go 18. You can go over the 2/3, so it's not a big deal. Gonna mark our spot where we're gonna cut. Then you want to be careful. Use your knife. You can use an X-Acto. If you're too young to use a knife, feel free to ask your parents for some help. You don't want to get hurt with this. Last thing you need is some stitches. Now we have our segment. We have our core. Starting to have a good looking sword here. You want to make sure that at the tip here you leave about an inch or so that you're going to fill up with some foam or anything to give it some extra padding so that you won't feel the tip of your core. So I've got some extra foam over here. that I'm going to use. If you want to, you can use some puzzle mat. This guy here, you just chop off a couple of squares or so. And you just stuff it in. Just pop it in there, nice and tight. Nice and secure in there. To secure it on there, you want to use a little bit of tape. We'll make sure that your foam on the inside of your sword isn't going to come out while you're doing everything else. Just a little bit of tape. Different people do different things. This is what I choose to do. Less core coming out. And now that we have this, so we've got our length here. Now we can choose to cut our caps. Other people will use a half of this, so almost like this kind of a piece, and they'll just tape it at the tip. You can do that, but I find that these here last a lot longer. You'll have to replace your tips a lot less often. You'll end up having to change your blade before you change your tip. And for these guys here, to make the circles, I just used the inside of one of these. It's about 3 inches on the diameter on the inside of the roll, which makes it perfect to make legal caps for your swords, as you need a 2.5. So, makes nice, perfect circles. So we've got 3 here. We're going to use 2 for the tip of our sword and 1 for our pommel. So you can choose to affix both of them on at the same time at the tip, or you can do one at a time. If you want to do the 2 at a time, I recommend that. I'm going to find the end of our tape here. You just tape your pieces together. Yeah, you got a nice solid disc. And you just tape them on. You want to try to have some nice long strands of tape. Tape the side of the shaft of your sword here. Well, the blade part, I guess. And now you have the cap. Got a nice solid piece here. If you find that there's too much rattle in your blade, you can always attach small pieces of foam around the core to help reduce some of that, some of the rattle that could happen. It'll help preserve your sword a lot better. And just a little bit of foam here. You can do knots of hockey tape too on the inside if you prefer. Either way, it doesn't matter as long as that rattle isn't in there. There we go. Alright, so next what we're going to do is our pommel, which is going to be pretty much done the same way as the tip of your sword. You just need a small segment of foam. It's going to go at the tip here. Gonna tape it down with some tape. There we go. Strong stuff here. So now we have the base for our weapon. Next thing you want to do is probably shave off some of your foam here if you want a nice, just slanted, like, end here. Thought I had one here to show you guys. Apparently I do not. Yeah, so you can shave it down. You don't have to, but it makes a nice finish to the end of your sword when you start at the start of your handle here. So I'm gonna do a bit of a shave. You can use scissors for this. If you're gonna use a knife and you're too young or whatever, just make sure you ask your parents for some help. Don't let anyone get hurt. And next thing we're going to want to do with our tape is just tape our blade. So I'm going to start at the top here, and what we're going to do is just tape the entire blade, going in like a circular formation, like a spiral. And you want to tape it down tight, but not too tight to damage your blade. And doing this would also help reduce some of the rattle in your sword. It compresses the foam closer to the hand, like close to the core. So. Alright, scissors, I'll get that off. So as you can see here, there's a bit of a taper in the sword. So just finishes off the sword a little better. You can do the same thing with your pommel. You don't necessarily have to, but you can. But you do want to tape the pommel. Make sure it's nice and taped and everything else. I got a nice pommel on there. And now with the ring, so this guy here has a approximately 2.5 inch diameter on the inside. So these we use to measure whether or not the surface area of the sword is big enough. So as you can see here, it's not going through whatsoever. At the pommel or here. But for your pommel, you don't need the 2.5, you need only 2 inches. But the tip of your sword, you want a 2.5. I just do it 2.5 here because it's just easier to do that way. Better to be safe than sorry and everything else. So, again, it's not going through. Got a good size there. I'll measure the sword again. So here we have it at a 29.5. So that's a good length. The maximum length for a short sword is 36 inches. So we still got a good like 6.5 inches that we could add to this if we had a longer core. But that's what we got. And then for cover wise, you can use, where is it? You can use stockings, get them at the dollar store, so long as the stocking is thick enough that you can't see through it. So it has to be solid, like you can see here. You can kind of see through it if it's pulled too tight kind of thing. Don't want that. What we want is something like this. My good old Shadow Moon sword. So you want something that's nice and not see-through. And one thing that you can do for your handle is put some macrame on it. You can get some scraps from people. I would ask nicely if anyone has any. Or you could just buy a spool of macrame. And you just spiral it down, make a nice thick handle for it, and nice and comfortable. And your sword is done. So, hope this helps you guys lots. And this is Tira again. We'll catch you later.